Thank you, Sarano Sasrikal. It's a pleasure to be here to speak to you all. At the UK, actually, it's 9:45 in the morning on Saturday. At the badi thand hegi ne bar. I don't know what the weather is like where you are all dialing in from, but I'm going to share a presentation with you. And please, although I'll do the presentation in English, if there's anybody who doesn't understand what I'm saying and needs translation, please let me know. Punjabi ch vi assi gal kar sakde hain. And also, please use the chat function for any questions that you have along anything that I'm saying. Please put any questions in the chat. I will take time at the end of the call to answer all questions. And if anybody has questions they wish to ask at the end, please feel free. So firstly, I will share with you a presentation. If you can kindly just confirm that you can see my presentation upload ki hai. If you can just confirm, Dr. Simran, you can see? Yeah, okay, excellent. Yes. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so I will go through the slides, and the title of the presentation today is It Can Never Happen to My Child. Because I think in this world, ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ actually believe ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ that whatever ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ, it happens to somebody else's child, it never will happen to our child. So when we talk about child sexual offences, when we talk about issues with the internet, we always hear ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਕੁਝ, never to our child, until something happens to our child. So we have to make sure we are prepared to keep our children safe online, and we have the strategies in place to keep our children safe online. So in terms of objective for this session today, it's just to open a dialogue about your digital parenting and to ensure that you as a parent feel more confident about your child's digital world. So a little bit about me first. My name is Amit Singh Kalley. I'm from London in the UK. My family background is both India and Tanzania. Actually, ਸਾਡੀ ਕੋਠੀ ਜਲੰਧਰ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, and ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਹੈਗੇ, they're in Jalandhar district as well. So we come to India on a regular basis. But here in the UK, I'm the co-founder of a company called For Working Parents. I also work as a parent and teenage coach, so I support parents through coaching. I do some public speaking in workplaces, in schools, in colleges. I have my own podcast, so if you ever want to listen to a podcast about 21st century parenting, it's called What Do Parents Know? It's available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. I interview lots of guests about really difficult topics relating to 21st century parenting. And I used to be, before I started this business, I was a former high school vice principal. So I spent 10 years working in secondary education, working with children from 11 to 18 and working with all of those parents. So firstly, I just want to ask you some questions. You don't have to answer these questions, but if you want to put in the chat your thoughts, then please feel free to just add your thoughts into the chat. But I want to just ask you some questions about the digital world. Firstly, do you know the digital world that your child lives in? ਇਹਦਾ ਕਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ internet pages ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ social media apps ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਾ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, do you know what they are doing online, honestly speaking? Just feel free if you want to add in the chat yes or no. If you feel confident that you know what apps or what your child does online. Second question, what apps do you know that your children use? Do you know, for example, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ Snapchat ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ? Do you know, for example, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ TikTok account ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ? Are you confident in saying that you know exactly what apps your child is using online? Again, even if you're not answering this question, please just think, apne dimag ch na sochna, do I know, do I not know? Next question. What social media platforms is your child on? Or everybody knows about things like Facebook and Instagram. A lot of children, a lot of adults, us ourselves, we have these accounts. Maybe you as adults, professionally, you have LinkedIn. But ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ social media apps ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ? What apps they have? All the different apps that maybe you haven't heard of. Next question. How do you as the parent monitor their activity? How do you check what they are doing online? How do you keep on top of your child's online activity? ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ monitoring software ਕੋਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ system 'ਚ? Or do you talk to your children regularly? ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ internet ਤੇ? ਅੱਜ ਕੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ internet ਤੇ? ਅੱਜ ਕਿਹੜੇ friends ਨਾਲ chat ਕੀਤਾ internet ਤੇ? Are you checking these things on a regular basis? And next question, how do you keep your child safe online? What do you do to help them be safe online? Do you talk to your children regularly? Or do you say, वाहिगुरु दे हाथ च या जो होएगा होएगा जो नहीं होएगा नहीं होएगा. Do you just trust them to do what they want? So somebody has put their child lock protection app and talking to him frequently in open discussion. Excellent. Yeah, we'll talk more about how to have open conversations in a moment. So these are just some questions I want you to consider. If your answer to all of these is I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, or no, then obviously we have some work to do, because that means your children are accessing this whole big world alone. They have no support. They have no safety. We wouldn't allow our children to walk to the next town alone, depending on their age. So why are we allowing them to explore the internet alone without any help? We have to think about the internet as being same as the physical world. So Pele, I put together some research from India, actually. I took advantage. I knew this call was for an Indian audience. So I did some research and just took some statistics from research that was conducted by lots of different organizations in India about the internet. And some of the statistics are very shocking, actually. Not similar to UK, but sometimes even worse than the UK. Firstly, the amount of internet use among children. So a significant majority of Indian children aged 10 to 14 are active internet users. 83% of children aged 10 to 14 are using smartphones. A smartphone, matlab Apple phone, Samsung, these smartphones where you have access to the internet. That is 7% higher than the global average. So more children in India are using phones than around the world. Cyberbullying and online harassment. Indian children report higher instances of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, the matlab, where people are abusing them online, maybe in chat facilities, people are swearing at them, shouting at them, all that kind of stuff online. Again, higher in India than globally. 42% have faced racial cyberbullying. So racist abuse, maybe if somebody is a Sikh or a Hindu or a Muslim, they're being abused, or maybe even in India, the caste system, depending on what caste somebody is, they're being abused. 36% have experienced trolling. Trolling the matlab haga, where people are constantly abusing you on your profile. They're saying nasty things about you. They're putting nasty comments about maybe the way you look, the way you sound, or things like that. 30% have encountered sexual harassment. So somebody is commenting on your sexual appearance. 28% have received threats of personal harm. That means somebody is going to do something to you. So really high figures here for a lot of children online in India. 32% rise in India in cyber crimes against children, including cyber pornography. That means people are sending pornographic videos or pornographic images, naked, nude images, cyber stalking, so people are following somebody online, and bullying. So these stats are really worrying in India. And, again, you have to think, if your children are navigating this world alone, they are, this is all happening, potentially could be happening to your children. Just a bit more research. Digital addiction. Approximately 60% of children in India aged 5 to 16 exhibit behaviors indicative of addiction. Addiction ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਫੋਨ ਚੈੱਕ ਕੀਤਾ, ਸਾਡਾ ਫੋਨ ਦਾ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਫੋਨ ਖੋਲਣਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਨਾ. Even as adults, we are victims of this. I know that when my notifications go off, I must check immediately. I'm addicted, no doubt. So if I'm addicted as an adult, maybe some of you as parents are addicted. Imagine your children and imagine how they have to deal with that addiction, plus their schoolwork, plus listening to you, plus spending time with family. Screen time use poses risks such as poor sleep quality, reduced physical activity. Maybe your child was very interested in cricket or very interested in soccer. Now suddenly they're not playing any of this. They're just sitting on their phone. Their diet is changing. They're putting on weight. They're not spending time with their friends. Their academic performance at school is struggling. Why? Maybe because they're spending too long online. And then finally, every second child in urban India, so this statistic is from cities, not from Pinda or from rural areas. Every second child, and matlab do bache, ek bache hona chona, is going to feel unsafe online. That is staggering. Very, very worrying statistic about the number of children that feel unsafe online. 16% have received inappropriate messages, and 25% have experienced account hacking. And that matlab somebody hacks your account, somebody goes into your account and pretends to be you, and you are locked out of your own account. So hopefully that bit of research from India shows you just how big this problem is. And it shows how big your responsibility as a parent is to try to keep your child safe and support your child online. So firstly, If you want to screenshot this slide, please do, or please take a picture of it. Here are some apps that you as parents should be concerned about. I won't go through every single app, but especially Dotin app hagine, which are very worrying. Ask.fm is a worrying app. That is where children can go online and ask an anonymous question. Any question they can ask, and somebody stranger will answer. So at its risk, a child might ask a slightly sexualized question. And somebody else pretending to be a child might answer, but we don't know what the intention ki hagi hai. There are other apps there, like dating apps that children might sign up to. Even things like Snapchat, TikTok, and even WhatsApp. ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ WhatsApp ਨਹੀਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦਾ? ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ WhatsApp ਤੇ, ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ WhatsApp ਤੇ. We're always using WhatsApp. But actually, sometimes, I don't know if you have ever received an image or a video on WhatsApp that you said, I don't like that. Maybe it's pornographic. Maybe it's violent. Ajkal jehdi misinformation, disinformation, fake news bhi badi chaldi hai on WhatsApp. So us as adults, we have to check, is this news real? Is this news not real? For children, they don't always have that ability to check. Unhone koi news dekhni hai, bhave fake news hove, unhone sochna bhi sahi hai. So what they're seeing is correct. What they're seeing is right. So we have to make sure that we are checking all of the things. This calculator app, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this app here is a worrying app. Our calculator app, what children do is they download this app, and when you look at the phone, it looks like a normal calculator. So tusi sochde hage, hi, mera bachcha bada sharif hega, apni maths homework karda na, he's doing his calculation. But this app, our calculator, the piche jehda hega na, is a special area of your phone where you can store files, you can store videos, you can store pictures that nobody else can see. So it's an app where you can store maybe images that are sexual, maybe files that are violent, or whatever it is. So we should be checking these things when we are looking at our children's or overseeing our children's phones. One app that I wanted to just spend some time on is Snapchat. So if, again, in the chat, if you could just put yes or no, does your child have Snapchat? It'd be good for me to understand how many of you are familiar with Snapchat. So if you're happy to put in the chat, does your child have Snapchat, yes or no? Maybe they do and you don't know. Maybe you're unsure. Again, please just put unsure. But there are some risks of Snapchat that parents have to worry about. Firstly, Snapchat can expose your child's exact location. So Snapchat, the auto setting it will tell people where your child is. Snapchat, you can become friends with anybody. Snapchat you can use for your own personal friends, but you can become friends with online people from all over India, in fact, from all over the world. And so if your child's location is being shown, that is quite dangerous for somebody that might have bad intentions. People can also screenshot and save messages. Now, here in the UK, when I used to be a vice principal, ek bada vada problem ho gaya si bachchiyan naal na. On Snapchat, what they were doing, jehde munde sige, especially munde kudiyan nu kende sige, be send me a nude. Eda matlab, send me a picture of you, bina kuch paya. It's okay. Everybody is doing it. Don't worry. Snapchat de utte na message ekdam delete hunde ne. Main sirf teri shakal dekhni hai, main teri body dekhni hai, us to baad message delete ho jayega. So jehdiyan kudiyan bichariyan, some of them, they get forced into or pressured into sending those pictures. So when I was a vice principal, I dealt with lots of cases where girls were sending boys images of themselves. Maybe they were not wearing their bra and they were sending naked images. Fir munde ki karde sige, munde screenshot karde si. Screenshot da matlab jehda deleting message hon, they've screenshotted, they've saved, and they used to share with their friends. Can you imagine for a young girl, 14, 15 salan di kudi, her nude image is now being shared amongst the school and amongst other people. So there is a huge risk where young people are being pressured into sending images of themselves naked or without certain clothes on. So we must be talking to our children and reminding them that never should they send that kind of image to anybody. Doesn't matter, je munda 14-year-old munda onu kave, I love you, I'm your boyfriend, koi na sare idda kar dene. It should never be happening. There's also the risk of sexting. Sexting da matlab when young people are messaging each other of a sexual nature, and all the messages they're sending to each other are all about sexual things. There is that risk, and we have to be careful of that risk. So what can parents do? Well, there are some things, and again, you can take a picture of this slide if you wish. There are some risks. There are some things that parents can do. The biggest thing, and one of the parents already mentioned earlier on, is open communication. There is a big cultural difference. At the UK nalo to India nalo culturally kafi difference hai. At the UK de vich actually parents are much more open with their children. Even sade Sikhan de vich, sade Hinduan de vich, sade Indian community de vich, there is more openness about talking about things like sex, talking about pornography, talking about violence. So we talk to our children more regularly. You might see online pornography. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about whether it's real, whether it's unrealistic. Hale mere soch abhi India hale thoda culturally that is not there yet. That actually parents and children are not talking about sex. They're not talking about pornography. So you must find a way to have open communication with your children, because if you're not talking to them about sex, the education they are getting about sex is from online. And what they're seeing online can sometimes be totally unrealistic. It can be violent. For example, lots of pornography shows male violence against women. And what your sons or daughters might grow up to think is that that's normal. That actually, if I'm a male, it's okay for me to be violent to my female partner. Or if I'm a female, it's okay for my partner to be violent to me. So we must be reminding our children that actually this kind of behavior is not normal. It's not appropriate. One of the next app is TikTok. Please, again in the chat, please likado, does your child have TikTok? This is a very famous app. It comes from China. It's all over the world. It started off as a dancing app where people were just recording dancing videos. But aajkal ta na pada on TikTok, we can spend hours and hours on TikTok. ਏਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ swipe ਕਰਨਾ ਨਾ, nonsense videos we're watching, kadi hasan waliya videos, kadi all different videos. But children are also on TikTok because aajkal everybody wants to be a famous TikTok star, because TikTokers make lots of money. ਜਿਹੜੇ TikTok stars ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, they make more money than engineers. They make more money than doctors. So ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਣਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਬਣਨਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਬਣਨਾ, ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਕਾਲਜ ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ no, mom dad ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ, ਮੈਂ TikTok star ਬਣਨਾ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਲਾਣੀਆਂ, ਮੈਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਡਾਂਸਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਲਾਣੀਆਂ, ਮੈਂ silly pranks ਕਰਨੇ ਆ. And you can make millions and millions on TikTok. But there are risks of TikTok as well. For example, age inappropriate content. TikTok's the algorithm again. If you spend 5 seconds watching one video and then you swipe up, the algorithm of TikTok will send you more videos like that. So for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you are watching cricket videos and to see India-Pakistan match here. You watch 5 seconds of India-Pakistan match. Next time you log on to TikTok, you'll notice suddenly you'll see lots of videos on your page about India-Pakistan cricket. Now you imagine for a child, if they watch 5 seconds of a fighting video of a big fight that happened in wherever, Delhi or something. Now the next time they log on to TikTok, they're going to see more videos like that. Now the impact that's going to have on them, they're going to be seeing more of these fighting videos unless they reset their algorithm. Also, online predators, people on TikTok can approach your children. They can send them messages about talking and discussing, and you don't know where that conversation might go. I'll give you one story. On my podcast that I spoke to you about earlier on, What Do Parents Know? I interviewed a guest at the UK. She runs a charity. She was running a charity and her son was being what we call groomed online. Grooming the matlab, an adult was slowly trying to convince the child to be on their side for sexual purposes. And after 1 year of grooming, this process was long. After 1 year, that child was turning against his parents, or the maa baap da kind of gal nahi sunda si. He was listening to the person grooming him. Finally, he went to meet the groomer. He told his, or the maa baap, the separation ho gayi si na, so or apni maa na rehanda si. He told his mom, I'm going to spend time with dad. He told his dad, I'm with mom. So maa baap nu pata nahi si bachcha sada kithe aega. They thought he was with each other. He went to meet the groomer. The groomer sexually assaulted him. He raped him and he killed him. At the UK, he killed him. He murdered him. And this lady now who lost her son, she started a charity to encourage more parents to be aware of the grooming process, to have conversations with your children, to get the police or whoever it is, or organizations like Daat Foundation and others across India involved in supporting you. So there are some safety tips for parents on TikTok as well. Talk about online content. It all comes down to having open conversations and communication with your parents. Monitor their viewing habits. Check their algorithm. What are they seeing? Aajkal ithe influencers bhi bade chalde ne. ਜਿਹੜੇ male influencers ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਵੀ to be a man you have to be like this ਇੱਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਯੂਰਪ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਹੈਗਾ Andrew Tate I don't know ਜੇ Andrew Tate ਦੀ story ਇੰਡੀਆ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ but he's a big influencer here in the UK he tells boys to be strong to be masculine to take advantage of women to be it doesn't matter what women think and lots of young boys listen to him and think he's right I want to be like Andrew Tate and so if nobody is talking at the schools they which ਕਾਫੀ ਹੁਣ education ਕਰਦੇ ਆ but if nobody is talking to the children about these dangerous influences then the children are going to think these influences are right so you have to learn yourself what's going on the internet and you then have to speak to your children about the issues that are on the internet this slide also shows you text message language if you look at your child's Snapchat or you look at your child's WhatsApp and you see lots of letters you don't understand be for example ਇੱਥੇ LMIRL ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ I don't know what he's saying they all have codes a lot of the codes is around sexual nature so you can see what some of those codes are so if you see something on your child's phone you don't recognize you simply say to them ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ can you explain to me what this means I don't understand and see what your child says about what that language actually means also emojis how we use emojis on WhatsApp can be they can be used in a sexualized nature you can see some emojis at the bottom there on this slide that children and people can use to have conversations of a sexual nature so what are the dangers online what should you be worried about as a parent firstly cyberbullying I showed you the statistics for India already about how much cyberbullying takes place online and if you're not talking to your child that means your child is facing that cyberbullying alone ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਸੋਚੋ when we were young and growing up ਜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ if we were being bullied ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ bully ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਘਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੇਫਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ because ਘਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਕੂਲ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਿਚ ਆਫ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਘਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਾਂ-ਬਾਪ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ we used to be safe we used to be happy until next day at school ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ cyber bullying happens online so ਭਾਵੇਂ ਬੱਚਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਬੱਚਾ ਘਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ bullying is still taking place because bullying now is happening online which makes it even worse that means there's no safety for these young children today invasion of privacy somebody might ask your child for their address somebody might ask your child for what school they go to somebody might ask your child what their mum and dad does for work oversharing of information your child might not understand what he should or should not share with somebody online he might share bank details he might share where his parents work who knows if they if they start trusting somebody online another one is unrealistic sense of body image ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਬੜੇ influencers ਜਿਹੜੇ online ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਦਮੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ online ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ six packs ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ gym body ਹੈਗੀ ਆ Bollywood style and ਜਿਹੜੇ ladies ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ bikini bodies ਹੈਗੇ very slim ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ fair skin ਆ and so what these young people think is that we must look like that and sometimes you have eating disorders be ਬੱਚੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਾਣੀ ਹੁਣ you have mental health issues be why can't I look like Priyanka Chopra or why can't I look like Ranveer Singh or whoever it is that's online and also viewing offensive images or videos again sexualized videos sexualized images ajkal when we were growing up you might think about yourself when did you find out about sex for many people they didn't know about sex until they got married that's when you found out what sex is and what is happening ajkal bache are finding out about sex when they are 10 11 12 years old because they're seeing that information online so as parents we have a responsibility to talk to them about it and it's not to say how dare you look at sex this is wrong this is against culture it's against religion you are in trouble no that's not the right approach it's about talking to them what did you see what did you think of what you saw why did you see it is it realistic is that what you're seeing is it right how can we change your behavior going forward ajkal to tell your children off isn't going to work ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਾਂ-ਬਾਪ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ if you dare do this again ਹੱਥ ਚੱਕ ਲੈਣਾ that doesn't work today it doesn't work in this day and age ਭਾਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੱਥ ਚੱਕਦੇ ਆ it still doesn't work anymore we have to have more conversations with our children because the internet has changed everything about their thinking and then finally children are obsessed with likes and comments children ਜਦੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਪੋਸਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ ਤੇ ਨਾ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਉਹ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਇੰਸਟਾਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਪੋਸਟ ਪਾਇਆ ਇੰਸਟਾਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲਾਈਕਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਲਿਖੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ and if they don't like if there's not enough likes other children will bully them that you put this picture up nobody even liked your picture maybe I put a picture of my body maybe I put a picture of me a video of me singing Maybe I put a video of me playing cricket. Nobody liked it. Then you become obsessed with that. And it becomes, again, this dangerous kind of idea. So again, there are some signs. Dr. Simranjeet mentioned at the beginning about child abuse that takes place. And of course, India ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ problem ਹੈਗਾ, especially in rural areas. You know, the international media reports regularly on what happens in India. And internationally on this situation, India's name is not a very good name because of the violence that happens to young girls, especially across India. And, you know, there are some very big cases that get reported, but, you know, I'm sure on a daily basis, there are thousands of cases across India that do not get reported. There are some signs that you as a parent can look out for in your children that might suggest they are being abused. And some of those signs are on your screen now. Now, these might be related to the UK, but some of these are still relevant to India. For example, if your child stops going to school suddenly, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ phone call ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ head teacher ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ, ਕੱਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ, ਪਰਸੋਂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ. And as far as you're concerned, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬੱਚਾ uniform 'ਚ ਜਾਂਦਾ school, you are taking him to school, you don't understand where he is. It could be that there is some abuse taking place. Suddenly your son or daughter is getting new gifts. They're getting trainers or they're getting new shirts. Where are these shirts coming from? Again, that's part of the grooming process. Drugs and alcohol misuse, secretive behavior. Sometimes your children have friendships with older children. You know, if your child is 11 or 12 years old, why would they be friends with somebody who is 17 or 18? Jeda bacha who's 17 or 18, what do they want from an 11-year-old? So you've got to ask those questions. And you know, just keep on top of any signs or any indicators that there might be any kind of child, what we call in the UK, child sexual exploitation or child criminal exploitation. The terms in India might be slightly different for those. So finally, what can parents do? What can you as parents do to keep your children safe online? Firstly, set up controls on your home internet and mobile phones to see what your child is doing. That doesn't mean check every single thing they're doing, because as a child gets older, you have to start giving them more independence. You cannot monitor an 18-year-old child's habits in the same way you monitor an 8-year-old child's habits. Jira 8 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੈਗਾ, you need to monitor everything. Jira 18 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੈਗਾ, you have to be a bit more, give them independence, but still have some of those controls at home so that you can see what's happening on the internet. And if you see something that you don't like, maybe pornography, maybe violence, do not shout at your children, do not tell them they are a disgrace to the family, they are a disgrace to religion, whatever. No, because all that's going to do is make them watch it even more, but be even more secretive from you. You've got to talk to them, have open conversation with them about what they're seeing online. Supervise online activities where appropriate. For example, ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ laptop ਹੈਗੇ ਆ and ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ homework ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, school ਦਾ work ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, it's best to have laptops in the sitting room, in the kitchen, in an open area, not in their bedrooms, because ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ bedrooms ਜਾਣਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ door ਬੰਦ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਜੇ homework ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ. So it's better to have laptops and devices in an open area. Set your expectations. Now, when I coach parents on a one-to-one basis, we do a lot of work on something called a digital charter. Digital charter is about setting internet and online expectations for everybody in the house. So for mom, for dad, maybe for grandparents if they're living in the house, for children. All of us discuss together, when can we use the internet? What can we be using the internet for? Who can have a phone? Where can we use the phone? And we come up with these expectations that apply for everybody. It's been very successful with parents that I've worked with on reducing the addiction to screen time. Communicate regularly with your child about the digital world, maybe things that you have seen online or news articles that you have read. And you must break free from cultural and religious pressures. Even here in the UK, when I work with Indian parents, they always say that, you know, we are Indian, we can't talk about sex. I was never able to talk to my parents about sex. I can't talk to my children about sex. But we need to break free from that thinking. Because like I said before, if you're not talking to your children, they're getting their education from the internet. And you can't control what they're seeing on the internet. You can't control what kind of education they're getting on the internet, which means you can't control their behaviors as they go through puberty, as they get to 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, and they become more interested in sex. You then can't control what they might do. Go online together and find things that interest your child. Make the internet part of your life. Maybe when they're young, they like cricket, they like Bollywood, they like legal stuff, they like politics, whatever it might be. Go and explore these things together. Educate yourself on the digital world. As parents, and I will share some resources with you, as parents, you must educate yourself on what goes on in the digital world. Find out for yourself about the dangers and the harms out there so that you can support your children. Don't take inappropriate steps. Like I say, if your child is watching pornography, don't take drastic measures by punishing them very badly or cut off the internet for the whole house, because that's not going to help anybody, because eventually you're going to put the internet back on. So you want to take appropriate steps. You want to talk to your children regularly, open communication regularly with your children. And finally, very, 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 very important, ask for help if you need it. There are so many organizations now you have in front of you, Daat Foundation, that is doing so much work to support parents that are struggling. But in our culture, sade Indian da, sade Punjabiyan da, sade Sikhan da, Hinduan da, whatever culture, we are obsessed with besti. And we are obsessed with loki ki kahange. That if my child is watching pornography, hi sade loki ki kahange, भी मेरा बच्चा कोई गलत काम करता सी online, गंदिया videos देखता सी online. And what we do is we don't share with anybody. We try to solve the problem ourselves, but we can't solve it ourselves. There are so many people to ask for help if you need it. But the biggest problem that we have as parents, especially Indian parents, is we're too embarrassed, we're too ashamed to ask for help. But the help is there. The Daat Foundation is there. There are many other charities and organizations across India that are there to help if you are struggling with your child's online activity. There are also lots of parental control apps, by the way, that you can download. You have to pay for these. I checked. These are internationally available. So these apps should be available in India as well. And they help monitor your child's activity. They help you provide safeguards to help with their activity. You have to pay a monthly fee or whatever it is. But the way I always say to parents, if you can pay a monthly fee for your satellite TV, if you can pay a monthly fee for your shopping, you should be able to pay a monthly fee to keep your children safe online. This should be a priority for every parent. And then I've put some websites here. I'm happy to share these slides with Dr. Simranjeet. She can share them on with you. The links are all here. These sites are UK sites, but they might provide some really useful information to you about how you as a parent can keep your children safe online. I've also put some sites there that I found from India as well that you can utilize and again, get resources from that might be able to keep your children safe online. So if we go back to the objective of the session, next steps. Yeah, if in India, by the way, if you ever think that you would like me to speak in your organization, your place of work, your child's school or whatever, please feel free to be in touch with me. I'm more than happy to speak in any organization virtually. One of the good things about the internet now is we can do things like this. I'm sitting in the UK, 5.5 hours behind you on time, and I'm talking to you about this topic. Yeah, feel free to also speak to me individually if you have any concerns about your own parenting journey, and I'd be happy to discuss those with you. So lastly, if you want to connect with me on any social media platform, my LinkedIn is there, my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is there. My podcast is at the bottom, my email address is there, and my website is there as well. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it gives you a bit of information about the online world. I hope it makes things a bit more realistic for you about what's going on online. And I hope it gives you the encouragement that you need to have those conversations slowly, small. Start the conversation small, start the conversation slowly. Pehli wari it's going to be very awkward. Duji wari it's going to be awkward. Tiji wari it's going to be awkward. But by the time you have the conversation 10, 15, 20 times, it suddenly becomes normal. And it's just like talking about how was your day at school today? What did you see online today? It becomes very, very normal. So I hope that was useful. Please, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them into the chat now, or feel free to unmute yourself and just ask the question that you have. As I say, you can connect with me online to see the things that I do. I'm always posting about parenting topics, and you can be in touch with me if you need any more personal support. Thank you very much for listening. That's fine. If there are no questions, I'm glad people found it useful. And like I say, please feel free to connect with me on the things that are in front of you now. If you are any of these platforms, you can follow me, connect with me, and you can be in touch with me.
Yes, thank you so much ਅਮਿਤ ਜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਲੀ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪਰੀਹੈਂਸਿਵ ਵੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੱਖੀ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਨ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਅਫੈਂਸਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਐਟ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਮੇਨ ਜੋ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੱਚਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਬੱਚੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਵਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम इट्स अ कंटिन्यूस प्रोसेस कि बच्चा महीने या कई बार काफी ईयर्स तक जो बच्चा है वो अब्यूज होंगे सैक्चुअली और लैक ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन और प्रॉपर चैनलाइजेशन नहीं होंगे गलबात का जिस करके जो बच्चा है लगातार जो है अब्यूज होंगे अगर स्टार्टिंग से बच्चे अच्छे तरीके अपने पेरेंट्स ਨਾਲ गल करेगा दसेगा चाहे वो साइबर बुलिंग के रिगार्डिंग होए चाहे उन्होंने कोई भी ऑनलाइन हैरस कर रहा है उन्होंने फॉलो कर रहा है तो वो अगर कम्युनिकेट करेगा तो नैचुरली है कि उन्होंने प्रोटेक्ट किया जा सकता है तो ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੀ ਹੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਔਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਐਪਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਈਵਨ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੁਝ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਸਨੈਪਚੈਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਟਿਕਟੌਕ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਨਫਲੂਐਂਸ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਲਚਰ ਹੀ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਹਵਾ ਚੱਲ ਪਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੜੀ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਵੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਡਾਪਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਮਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਜੌਬ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਪੜਾਂਗੇ ਚਾਹੇ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਆਖਰ ਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਹੀ ਕਮਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਾਰਟ ਗਾ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਟ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਪਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਇਫੈਕਟਸ ਕੀ ਪੈ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਕੀ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਪੈ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਗਰ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਖਾਸ ਕਰ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਅਟੈਂਡ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰਨ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਵੈਬਿਨਾਰ ਦਾ ਪਰਪਸ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਐਂਡ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਅਟੈਂਡ ਕਰਨ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਣ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ 'ਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਅਫੈਂਸ ਵੱਧ ਰਿਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਬਟ ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਏਲੀਅਨਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਔਰ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਹੋਰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੀ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਦਾ ਪਾਰਟ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੀ ਠੀਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ तो अगर ਅਸੀਂ ਜੁਆਇੰਟਲੀ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਾਰਟਸ ਨੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਫੈਂਡ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਵਿਕਟਿਮ ਹੈ ਅਗਰ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਪਰਪੀਟ੍ਰੇਟਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਾਂਗੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਚਾਹੇ 16 ਦੇ ਨੀਅਰ ਅਬਾਊਟ 17 18 ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੈਂਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਰਚ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕੌਣ ਸੀ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਰਫ ਵਿਕਟਿਮ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਚਾ ਰਹੇ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਅਗਰ ਉਹ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਵੀ ਬਣਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਫਰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸੇਫ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਸ ਬੱਚੇ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਔਰ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਹੋਰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਵੀ ਸੇਫ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ तो साड़ी बहुत जरूरत है कि ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਟੀਜ਼ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਡਿਊਟੀਆਂ ਬਣਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਮਝੀਏ ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਜੋ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਵੀ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਸਕੂਲਸ ਦੇ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਜੋ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਸਪਰੈਡ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰੋ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਿਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਰਦਰ ਜੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰ ਪਾਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਪਰੈਡ ਕਰੋ ਔਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੀ ਦੌੜ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਭੱਜ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੂਰ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਇਹੀ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਧਣ ਦਾ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡਾ ਲਾਲਚ ਹੈ ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਚਾਹੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਪਾਵਰ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਅਲੱਗ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਇਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਨੈਚੁਰਲੀ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਖਾਸ ਕਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸੇਫ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਜੋ ਦਾਤ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸੇਫ ਚਾਈਲਡਹੁੱਡ ਸੇਫ ਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਚਪਨ ਬਚਾ ਲਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਸ਼ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਬਚਾ ਲਿਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਜ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਬਚਾ ਲਿਆ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਿਓਗੇ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੈਟ ਬਾਕਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲਿੰਕਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਗਏ ਦਾਤ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਨੇ ਲਿੰਕਸ ਨੇ ਔਰ YouTube ਦੇ ਲਿੰਕ ਨੇ ਅਗਰ ਫਰਦਰ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਕੋਈ ਕੁਐਰੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਅਮਿਤ ਜੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਲਿੰਕ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਦੇਵਾਂਗੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਲਿੰਕਸ ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਸੋ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਵਨਸ ਅਗੇਨ ਅਮਿਤ ਕੈਲੀ ਜੀ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਐਂਡ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੈਂਟ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਆਪਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਸਰਦੀ ਦੇ ਦਿਨ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਦਿਨ ਬੜੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਖਾਸ ਕਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਕਿ ਦਿਨ ਬੜੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਕਦੋਂ ਲੰਘ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਬਟ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੀਮਤੀ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਫਰਦਰ ਕੁਐਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ।
Thank you.
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
Thank you very much.